Donald Trump had a rally on Saturday in Nevada. And at this rally, his brain genuinely appeared to malfunction and break. He talked about a Chinese restaurant bowling alley at which documents were reportedly stored, as if it somehow means that what he did with his documents at Mar-a-Lago is okay. Listen to this story that Trump told.
George H.W. Bush took millions of documents to a former bowling alley and a former Chinese restaurant where they combined them. So they're in a bowling alley / Chinese restaurant.
Now, what's the truth of the story? The truth is that when the National Archives is participating in the process of the creation of a presidential library, they will often rent or lease some space wherever the library is being built or close to where they are working. And it is true that the National Archives, NARA, they leased what was essentially a warehouse to temporarily store documents for George H.W. Bush in College Station, Texas. It was a building that at one point was a bowling alley, and part of the building was a Chinese restaurant. Trump wants to frame it as George H.W. Bush took a whole bunch of documents just like Trump did and put them at what was at the time a functioning bowling alley or Chinese restaurant. That's not what happened. NARA, properly in control of documents, leased a space that used to be that. It has no connection whatsoever to what Donald Trump did. And every one of these stories has like a kernel of truth wrapped in 99% lies. Trump going on during this speech about when are they going to prosecute Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton and all of them.
I believe that. What do you think? Yes, Mike? When will they investigate and prosecute Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, George Bush, and look into what took place with George Bush's father, a very nice man, and the warehouse of documents? And what about Barack Hussein Obama? Are they under potential prosecution? I don't think so. I don't think they are. A Chinese restaurant and a bowling alley.
Yeah. So Trump just focusing on they should all be prosecuted. Of course, they didn't do any of the things that Donald Trump did. Trump also fixating on Bill Clinton and a sock drawer, but he pronounces it a sock draw. It's very interesting.
They're still looking for those pages. Bill Clinton took millions of documents from the White House to a former car dealership in Arkansas. We love Arkansas, I can tell you. We won Arkansas both times also. And kept classified recordings in his sock drawer.
Sock drawer?
In fact, he supposedly put the information from the White House into his socks and left them.
These rallies are so insane. At another point, Trump very dangerously bragged about how big the crowd was on January 6th, 2021, as if that's something to cheer about, given the hell and destruction that crowd unleashed. But the crowd in Nevada seems to like it.
And these corrupt people will never take a camera and turn it around and show them how many people are here. They never do it. They're corrupt. They never do it. You know, I never knew the cameras, because this took place right from, they never want to show how massive our crowd was. You know the biggest crowd I've ever seen? January 6th. And you never hear that.
And the crowd loves it. By the way, at these rallies, the crowd constantly is booing and sort of jeering the media at the back of the rally. The only media at the back of these rallies are right-wing outlets, Right Side Broadcasting and Newsmax. And Newsmax didn't even cover Trump's Arizona rally, so I don't know what they're complaining about. Then Trump does the QAnon music, and during the QAnon music, he complains about commercial airports, which, by the way, Trump doesn't ever go to because he flies private. And it's weird, but it's also kind of funny in a way. Check this out.
A nation whose once revered airports are dirty and a crowded mess. You sit and wait for hours and then are notified that the plane won't leave, and they have no idea when they will. Where ticket prices have tripled, they don't have the pilots to fly the planes, and they don't seek qualified air traffic controllers anymore.
Yeah, Trump really very much affected by just what goes on at airports. That's absolutely something that is an issue for him. Last one, and then we'll move on very briefly to a bonus clip. Trump is still talking about Hillary's emails in 2022.
But almost as bad, crooked Hillary deleted 33,000 emails under congressional subpoena.
Zavina.
She acid washed them, although I do believe they're in the State Department, because it's very hard to get rid of them. But they acid wash, very expensive.
I believe they're in the State Department. Trump talks about emails as if they are physical things. It's very interesting.
Process. That's why nobody does it.
She had 4 ideas in a box.
And then pounded her phones with hammers, making them totally unrecognizable to the naked eye. So she took those phones and she pounded the hell out of them.
Yeah. So there's the Hillary story. And then here's just a bonus. Check this out. Here is a woman, Fiore. I forget this woman's first name. She just makes up unemployment numbers that are completely untrue, but the crowd doesn't know any better.
Under President Trump, we had a little over 3% unemployment.
Oh, okay.
Do you know the last time that happened? It was
Now.
1969. Under Biden and Obama, we're at 10%, right? And even more now.
That's completely untrue. We are at 3.5% unemployment right now. She says we are at over 10% unemployment. The crowd doesn't seem to think much of it. These are just obvious lies, but that crowd welcomes all of it. These rallies continue to demonstrate the level of delusion and disconnection from reality that these folks have. And when we talk about, well, how do we get them back? How do we get them back to sense it, to common sense and normality? I don't know the answer, because they will accept whatever they are told. Later in the show, we'll see some interviews with the rally goers. All of these clips, if you're listening today, you want to see them in their full glory, destructive glory, we'll have them on our Instagram, which you can find at David Pakman Show. Very quick break and right back. Right now, many of us are asking ourselves, what's the best way to help the people affected by the recent hurricanes? And the truth is, giving them cash is one of the best things you can do, because cash is so cost effective. When you give families cash, you're also empowering them to choose for themselves how to best improve their situation. And I've talked before about our sponsor, Give Directly. Give Directly is a nonprofit that just lets donors like you send cash directly to families who need it the most. Give Directly is a great organization I've been following for years. A lot of their focus is on impoverished families in Africa, but right now Give Directly is also allowing you to send cash directly to families impacted by Hurricanes Ian and Fiona. During Hurricane Ian, more than 2.5 million people were ordered to leave their homes. Expenses are rising. They need food, shelter, transportation. Hurricane Fiona hit Puerto Rico on September 18th. More than 12,000 people displaced. The island is still in a state of emergency, and people need help. Visit givedirectly.org/Pakman to learn more and send money directly to someone who needs it. The link is down below.